Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Peace and Love with your host, moi, Addie Ferris. This episode is basically going to be catered around the fact that we're jumping into the new year, right? And with that being said, we set intentions for what we want to accomplish, the goals that we aspire, and the people that we want to transform into. And doing so, we have to learn to acknowledge letting go of old habitual patterns that are no longer serving us and intentionally create new pathways within our minds and setting new goals for ourselves in every second of our day. And this is a lot easier said than done, but by focusing into the present moment and really taking in what we have right now and using what we can while we're here is what's going to get us to that next phase in life. So, a lot of us think that you can set an intention of what you want to get done for your New Year's resolution, correct? And we set these goals so that way we are consciously aware of ourselves progressing. And we focus on the things at the beginning of the year. We focus not only on the things that we want to do, but we also focus on the things that we want to let go of. The old patterns that we've created, maybe sleeping in, maybe drinking too much, maybe indulging in activities that you probably shouldn't indulge in. Along those lines, maybe you want to just be more self-aware of what you're doing with your life and with your intentions every single day. And I think it's so cool that every year, at the end of the year, we set these intentions. Whether we really want to or not, we do. And I've noticed that this is a huge time in all the collective's consciousness where we are becoming more self-aware of where we're at mentally, physically, spiritually, all the above. And it allows us to look back and see where we can improve. Because if we were to sit and imagine that we were exactly where we wanted to be all the time and we didn't need to grow or excel or learn or do things differently, then we will forever be stuck in a place where things will not change. You will be doing the same thing year after year after year, and that doesn't sound fun, right? So the new year, it's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be a little bit difficult. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, and that's the point. So in becoming more self-aware, we have to learn how to touch into the present moment. And I've spoke about this a lot, but today I'm really going to harp on it because the present moment is all that we know. For instance, right now, I'm recording this video, right? And this podcast episode. And I am trying to share with you all what I feel is important to me and probably to others as well. And with that being said, I'm using the time that I have in this present moment to intentionally create a different reality for myself. This is difficult for me to do. Every single time I make an episode, it is hard for me. It's uncomfortable, but yet I continue to keep striving and doing it. If I was so worried about what everybody was going to say about what I have to say, then frankly, I would not post any of these videos. But the fact that I have enough courage and enough self-awareness to be able to post this without caring what other people have to say shows that in an instance, I am growing and learning. And recently, I've been listening to Joe Dispenza. And if you haven't heard of him, maybe you should check him out because the way that he talks about our minds in a scientific way is extraordinary. And I've learned a lot. And I'm still learning. But at the same time, I was trying to explain to you all that we only have right now, right? This present moment is all that we truly know exists. So, with that being said, why do we take so much time out of our day and our second right now to focus on the things that we are worried about, for what's to come, for how it's going to come into our lives? Why do we focus so much on the past and what we could have done differently and how we messed up and so forth? We as a collective, that is important. Okay, it's important to be able to be self-aware enough to know what you want for your future and your goals and your aspirations and where you want to be in life, and also understanding where you have been and learning from those instances. But with knowing the past and having dreams for your future, then that leaves you nothing but right now, the now. And the now is the most important time because it is the time that we're ever fully existing. And I think a lot of us get caught up in the fact that we're so worried about what's to come that we lose sight of what we truly already have and appreciating what we have in front of us. For instance, you could be in this job, right, that you've had for however long, and you could be happy, but you could have this dream of doing something else with your life, going places, traveling maybe, yet you're not doing any of that because that's just a dream in your head, right? And actively you're working your 9 to 5 every day, repeating the same things, and you might feel like you're stuck in a habitual loop that you consciously or unconsciously created for yourself. And that's okay. That's normal. But catching yourself and understanding that anything that you desire that truly is for you, you can acquire. It will come to you if you fully believe and put in the effort to eventually get there. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. It's going to take work. It's going to take learning more about yourself, learning more about the world, learning more about how you can get to where you want to be, and actively doing and taking those steps in order to get there. For instance, maybe 3 years ago, I dreamt of having my own podcast, and it felt so far from my reality because I was not actively doing anything to pursue that for myself. So then a year goes by and I decide that I want to start a podcast, but I didn't know how to do it. And I had to learn how to set things up, how to record, how to talk to myself, to this camera for however long it may be. And it was uncomfortable, and I've gotten better with practice, but it's taken a few years, and sometimes I slack and sometimes I'm really on it. And like I'm saying, it's a progress thing. It's not going to happen like with the snap of your fingers. It's going to take some time and some real effort. If it's something that you truly desire, then you will get there. And this pulls into the fact of when I have been listening to Joe Dispenza, he has explained that meditation and yoga truly do help a person become more present and more aware of the subconscious thoughts that are going on in their brain without them even realizing it. For instance, you could be going about your day and at your job, right? And you're talking to people and something starts to aggravate you, and in your head you're complaining to yourself about what this other person has done to you or what they're doing is annoying, and complaining in your subconscious mind. Why are you listening to those thoughts about complaining? Like, you get to choose the way that you think. So if you start to become aware of the thoughts that you're having and the way that you're talking to yourself or about others, the more you'll start to pick up on the fact of how you're speaking to yourself in your head. And once you do that, then you get to pick to either let the old self patterns of talking to yourself go, or consciously choose to create new wire pathways in your brain by speaking to yourself more positively and seeing how everything in this entire world you can use to your benefit. For instance, I'm working on this myself, and I sometimes will wake up in the morning and be like, man, I really just want to go back to sleep. Like, I don't want to wake up. I have to go to work. I have to walk my dog. I have to do this, blah, blah, right? And in my brain, I understand that I'm telling myself, ugh, I have to do this. But in reality, I can just tweak it a little bit and be like, I actually get to go to work today. I get to take my dog out. I get to go on a walk. And change the way that you say things to yourself, because we are not victims of our lives, right? Make it a purpose. Like, we are the purpose of our lives. We get to decide what we want to do with our future, with our every instance and every day. So why not show up as the version of yourself that deserves the love, that deserves the gratitude, that deserves the abundance filling into your life? We sit and we think about our lives as if we don't already have everything that we need, because that's the world we live in, right? Through meditation, you can become more conscious, truly. Like, this is what it does for me. This is what it does for other people. You can research it. I'm not just saying it to say it. The more that you slow down, close your eyes, breathe in and out and in and out, and you will have these thoughts that will come to the surface of your mind. Maybe you forgot to change the laundry from the washer to the dryer, but you're meditating. So you let go of what you have to do and just simply sit with yourself and let go of what you need to do and just be. And then you breathe again and you refocus on your breath. And then you'll start to realize that more things will come up to the surface of your head, and you'll realize something and then let it go again. And then refocus on your breath. And what this is doing, it's creating a pattern of you allowing yourself to let go of the thoughts that you don't necessarily need to be thinking about in that moment, because that's not what you're doing. Those thoughts are doing nothing but taking you out of the present moment, out of the awareness of what you were trying to do, which is meditate, and bring your awareness to the future or to the past. And that does nothing but bring you out of the present. So once you start to create this pattern of letting go of these past and future worries, right? You allow yourself to create the pattern to simply be, to understand that we create the reality in which we live in. So if you want to be living in the future, you're always going to be anxious and you're always going to be worried about what's to come. But if you're focused so much on the past, then maybe you're depressed and you can't let go of the things that you once have done or things that people have done to you, and you start to become sad all the time and you wonder why. It's because your body and your mind are not right here. So through creating this new process of thinking, when you're in your daily walk of life, you're going to start to pick up on things. You're going to start to notice when thoughts come up to your surface of your head and realize, I don't really need to be thinking about that right now. And you let it go and you keep going on about your day. And then it'll start to happen more frequently. For instance, you may be at work and that one person that you just can't stand says something to get under your skin. You don't let it get to you anymore. You hear it, you acknowledge it, and you understand that they're just being themselves and they're probably having a rough day and they're just saying something to make themselves feel better. And you consciously understand that and you let it go and you don't let it affect you. And you keep going with your day. And things will start to not get to you as deeply as they used to. And this is what's so fun. Because you start to realize that not only are you becoming less affected by other people's actions and intentions that may hurt, you're also focusing your awareness on yourself more instead of the things that you used to let eat you up inside. You're focusing more on what you want to do with your life rather than what someone else is doing with theirs. And this is so important because with the world that we live in, we have so much comparison and we have so many celebrities that people idolize and want to be like, when in reality, they're also just human. And we're just idolizing them for what? Because they have money and fame? When in reality, imagine if you actually had that money and fame, would you really be that happy with everybody knowing everything going on in your life? Probably not. Like, I don't know. I just think about it in that sense because we compare ourselves to people who we think might have it better than us, when in reality, we don't really know what someone's internal thoughts are like or what they're going through unless they talk about it. Which is why I myself talk about stuff like this, because I want people to know the real me. I want people to know that I am a deep person. I want people to understand that I'm not someone that just has shallow friendships and can't hold a deep conversation with myself or with God or with another person, because this is what's important to me. And I feel like part of my purpose is to continue to share things like this because this is what I desire in my life. So why not actively try and make intentions to learn more about it or better myself in any way that I can? For instance, sometimes I see people traveling and posting really cool pictures on social media, and I get caught up in the fact of like wondering, oh, I wonder how good their life is. I wonder if they're, just as happy as they make it seem. When in reality, that really doesn't matter to me. Like, I hope that they're happy. I hope that they're thriving. I truly, genuinely wish that the best for everyone. But at the same time, I can't control someone else's life. I can only control what I feel and how I think. So if I want to be happy, I need to focus on things making me happy and desires that I have for myself, instead of focusing on comparing myself to someone else's pleasures in life. And I've had people ask me, like, what kind of hobbies do you do? Honestly, for myself, I am constantly trying to find ways to improve myself. That's a hobby that I have, self-improvement, just constantly, whether that is spiritually, physically, or mentally. I am constantly seeking new ways to rewire myself. And sometimes I sit to myself and I think, is this really doing anything? And then I have a conversation with a complete stranger and they ask me how I've become so deep or how I've become so self-aware. And it's through improving constantly, trying to self-improve. And so what I'm saying with this is sometimes we sit and we think that we're not doing enough. We're not actively pursuing our goals enough. We're not changing enough. But with every instance in the now, if you are intentionally trying to improve or do something that you desire doing, then you're getting closer just in that second. And it might not seem like it right now, but maybe in a week, maybe in a day, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, you will see a complete transformation of the version of yourself that you once were to the version of yourself that you are now or will be. So just trust in the process and believe in yourself more, because we as humans have so much belief, right? When we were kids, we believe in Santa being real, and we think that this big man on a sleigh can carry all the presents in his sack of toys and flying reindeer, right? We had that belief that that was real. If we could believe that as kids, then just imagine what we could believe as adults. If you truly believed in yourself and you truly believed in your dreams and your aspirations coming true, how would you feel? Would you feel great? Would you feel better than great? Where would you be? Like, imagine the depths that you are capable of reaching just by believing that the impossible can happen. We don't need to limit ourselves into believing that we're not worthy, or we're not enough, or we're not trying hard enough. Because even if you're listening to this, it shows me that you're deep enough to be able to consciously listen to what someone else has to say, even though it might not be what you believe in. For instance, I'll listen to other people's podcasts whenever I don't really know if I truly believe everything that they're saying, but I'm having an open mind to their conversation with themselves or with another person. And that's what I want to do for you all. And keeping an open mind allows us to not only be open to new ideas and new experiences and new patterns of thinking, but also things that we couldn't even imagine if we were stuck being asleep, if we were stuck thinking that we knew everything, if we were stuck in the past or the future. Once we take in the present moment and understand that every single instance in our life can be a learning instance, then we can take that and run with it. You can be learning with the most mundane things happening in your life if you truly see it that way. And I try to. I've been trying, and that is part of my goal this year, is to continuously just grow and learn and want to deepen myself, deepen my thoughts, deepen my connections with people, with God, with everything, and truly appreciate where I'm at and where I'm going to be, and not being afraid of the future, but being excited for what's to come, and appreciating the past for what it was, because it brought me to this moment right now. And I genuinely hope that everybody that's listening has set some really good intentions for themselves to stick with, like going to the gym more, or being more self-aware, or letting go of the past, or setting real goals for your career, or whatever it is you want it to be. Set intentions for yourself so that way you have an idea of where you want to be and understand that you're capable of getting there. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to those self-doubting commentary in your head. It's nothing but false. And you can overcome these things by allowing yourself to believe. So with that being said, thanks for listening to this episode today, and I'll be back soon. Peace and love.